10 years of homeschooling. I just started year 11. 2026 is year 11. But that means a lot of things have changed for me since year 1. And I really didn't realize that until I looked back at some of the pictures that popped up on my Facebook timeline. And I was like, wow, I cannot believe the difference between now and then. So my youngest was in kindergarten when we started, and he's going to be going into grade 10. I cannot believe it. When you're new to homeschooling, everything feels so high stakes. Everything is a little bit crazy, especially if you're a first generation homeschooler like I was. Every decision feels permanent and there's a lot of fear involved, and every mistake feels huge. You feel like you screwed up and you're going to mess up your kids, and it can be very stressful. But 10 years later, I see things very differently. So Facebook recently showed me pictures from 10 years ago, and I realized how long it's been since I started this homeschooling journey. My child that I'm homeschooling now back then he was going into kindergarten, and now he's going into 10th grade at the end of this year. He's only got a couple months left of this school year. So here's some things that I realized after I really started thinking about when we started. The first thing I realized is the elementary and younger years are so much sweeter, and I wish I would have held on to those a little bit more. I wish I wouldn't have stressed out so much in the elementary years, because they are just so sweet and I miss them so much. I didn't realize how simple and sweet those elementary years really are. And I'm not saying that they don't have their moments. I'm a boy mom. They have their moments. But looking back on it, those were the years that my kids wrote me sweet little notes on the whiteboard. Maybe one day I'll share those notes with you, but for now I've been keeping them kind of just close to my heart, because they were just like little notes for mom about how much they loved school and how much they loved me and the books they were reading. And they would draw me little pictures in the morning before I would come into the schoolroom. It was so sweet. But those were the years that I think I thought and stressed out way too much about grade levels and feeling behind and overthinking subjects, and I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I just would have calmed down a little bit. But I was a first generation homeschooler coming out of the public school system, and I had really nobody to talk to about homeschooling, which is why I actually back then started this whole channel and this whole brand. It's because I had nobody to talk to about homeschooling, and I just wanted some friends. Another thing that I have really come to realize is that curriculum is a tool, and it's not the be-all end-all of my homeschool. I don't work for the curriculum. The curriculum works for me. I used to treat curriculum like it would make or break our homeschool, and that's not it. I can use any number of different curriculum books, but that's not going to make or break my homeschool. It's going to be how I use that book, okay? You can use all kinds of different curriculum books. That curriculum book is a tool, okay? It works for you. You make it work for your homeschool. Just like I was able to take my Generations World History book, and I took that textbook and I turned it into an entire Charlotte Mason curriculum using this book. You can do the same thing with any book. You can turn it into what you want. It's a resource. It's not the be-all end-all of your school. You do not have to follow it to a T. Make it work for you. I thought I needed all the things, all of the posters, all of the art stuff, all of the everything, the computer and the charts. And I went way overboard because I came out of a classroom environment, and that was what I knew. Okay. And for me, I think it's almost harder. And I've talked to other teachers who have said the same thing. It's almost harder for teachers to homeschool because we have that mentality going on in our brains where we have to do this, 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 and this, or it's not a classroom, it's not a learning environment. And it can make it actually a little bit harder on us because we have to unschool ourselves. We don't just have to deschool our kids if we brought them out of the system. We have to deschool ourselves. And again, that's why I recommend books like this, because that really helped me kind of come out of that type of mindset. This is the Charlotte Mason Companion by Karen Andriola. That was a really helpful book for me to kind of help unschool me. Also, her book, Michael's Gentle Wife, is a really good example of a homeschool mom at the beginning of her journey. And I love that example in reading about her because I think I went through so many of the same feelings and emotions and things that she was feeling. And I got to see how she homeschooled throughout the book, and I really loved it. It was a really sweet example of a homeschool mom, and I learned so much, even though I had been homeschooling for years when I picked up that book last year. So highly recommend that one. Highly recommend this one. This is such a good book. I realized that a simple homeschool just with a stack of books is more my style, and it took me years to kind of come up to that realization, but it's true. I am more of a Charlotte Mason leaning mom. I have one child who's definitely Charlotte Mason leaning, and that is just our homeschooling educational style. And I learned how to use my textbooks to fit that style, that I could take any book and turn it into what I needed it for as a tool in my tool belt. So I figured out our homeschool style, but it was a journey. It was definitely a journey to figure that out, but hopefully you figured it out sooner than I did. Another thing I found out was high school was not nearly as scary as I made it out to be in my brain, and I think so many of us do this. And then I actually did it, and then I figured out, hey, this isn't really that hard. I can make my own transcript on Microsoft Excel. There's also a bunch of different transcripts that you can print out online. There's cover schools. I use a cover school. We got to participate in graduation. This was not nearly as hard as I was making it out to be in my brain. It's not nearly as scary as I was making it out to be. But there are certain things you need to do, especially if your child is college bound. And, you know, now that I've done it one time and I've gone through the whole thing, it's so much smaller of a deal than I was making it out to be. And now I have my second high schooler. He's in 9th grade right now, so I'm not really like in the thick of it yet, but like next year it's gonna ramp up a little bit. So I got a little bit of a break this year, and then I got to go right back into it. My oldest child graduated last year, so I'm on this constant like wheel of high school stuff, it feels like, but we're gonna get through it. Paperwork was a little bit intimidating, but I got organized. I used one of those huge like 3-inch 3-ring binders for high school, and I was able to really start planning all of my stuff through there. I had different like tabs for like grades 9 through 12, and I feel like that was such a good thing that I did for my oldest, that I'm going to do it for my youngest. I still have to start it. This is kind of like my reminder for myself to, hey, start putting stuff in these folders. So I'm gonna order some tabs, and I'm gonna start my high school binder for my youngest child, and that way they have like records of everything that they did, and there's everything from pictures from, you know, different field trips and things like that to just samples of their work from each subject, and, you know, any certificates that they earned online, and any major accomplishments. So my youngest is a ham radio operator, and he's won several really big contests. He's got like a wall, it's behind you, you can't really see it, but he's got like a wall of all of his cool accomplishments and things like that, and I want to put that in there as kind of like extracurriculars that he did. He's very good. He's very, very good. So I want to put that in there, and I want to kind of make like a organized binder for him to keep from his high school years. Really what scared me more than anything else was the unknown territory, and high school was the unknown. And especially, you know, when I first started homeschooling like 10 years ago, there was not that many people online in the YouTube world even who were talking about high school homeschooling. And actually a lot of people put their kids back in public school for those high school years, and that made me really nervous because I was like, I don't want to do that, but I don't know what I'm doing either. So I'm really glad that I just charged forward and did that. And that's why I talk about high school so much, because I feel like there's not that many of us talking about high school on here. So I'm hoping that it's not as scary for you as it was for me. So 10 years in, I don't feel frantic anymore like I did those first couple of years. I feel so much more settled. And if you're new, I promise it will not always feel so scary and crazy and overwhelming. You will get the hang of this after a couple years and you'll be like, I don't know what I was really worried about. So tell me down below, if you are in the first couple of years of homeschooling, what feels scary to you? I would love to know. And I'm sure that everybody else here would love to help you along too and give you some words of encouragement or advice. And I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and happy homeschooling.